Okay, folks, welcome to the Augmented World Expo 2013, and we have he's called the Prophet of AR. Tish Shute refers to Bruce Sterling, who is a novelist who has done an incredible amount of things in technology and is the guru who has been here. This is your fourth year. Bruce, welcome to AWE TV.
Thanks a lot.
So you just gave this amazing keynote, and you kind of talked about where AR kind of has been and all of the different ways it can move. So just for those people that might not have seen the keynote, just kind of recap really what's exciting you and where we can see this moving.
Well, I was doing a little forecasting work there because people call me the prophet of augmented reality, but I never really prophesize anything. I've been known to write science fiction stories where people use augmented reality. And I have to say that the stuff I wrote in the 90s and the early 21st century bears very little resemblance to what's actually going on today. But it can help to sort of block out things if you fit things into possible futures. So I was just talking about possible situations like money and technology as the kind of driving forces in the industry. Are they super popular? Is there a lot of cash washing around? Is the technology low, or is it super advanced technology? So that leaves you with four possible futures. One that's low tech and not much money. One that's high tech but not much money. One that's low tech but tons of cash around. And then another one that's really high technology and just a whole bunch of money. So naturally everybody wants it to be the Goldilocks one, where I get all tons of money and do this, that, and the other. But in reality, if it's a good future forecast, all of those things come true at once.
Absolutely.
There will be some small-time guys doing little bits of stuff. There will be some big guys doing big stuff. And the question is sort of which one of those worlds is more weighted than the other? They all exist together.
Absolutely.
But there's one that dominates.
Absolutely. Well, it's really funny. You kind of mentioned to all of the AR enthusiasts about how AR it's cute and cuddly. I think whenever something starts off, it's always cute and cuddly. And where are we moving? Is AR getting away from the cute and cuddly? I mean, we were talking before off camera, and you said Google started off cute and cuddly. So where are we moving with AR? Do you see it going beyond that cute and cuddly stage?
Well, I've thought for a long time that there were going to be some massive AR scandals. I mean, when I was first
it's
talking
early.
to,
it's early.
Well, when I was talking to Layar, and the first speech I gave, public speech about augmented reality, because they were in Holland and they were one of the first, of the contemporary wave of AR startups. I was warning them that it's easy to step on people's feet and provoke some kind of kickback social reaction, and it's usually got something to do with pornography or organized crime or drug dealing or terrorism, right? And there's no reason why augmented reality can't be used by those four malefactors in our society, because they're there and they're, bad guys, but they've all got cell phones and everything else anybody else would want. They certainly got plenty of cash. So, it could have been possible that AR could have gotten on a really bad foot. Let's just say the first guys to use AR in Holland might have been the Nazi party in Holland. And they do have Nazis in Holland, and they're not kidding fun guys.
Right.
They're goose-stepping guys in black shirts, and they beat up Muslims and bash gays and do the usual Nazi stuff. And it's just kind of the luck of the draw that they didn't think, wait a minute, I could leave AR graffiti saying Heil Hitler on every possible surface. Okay, so as it happened, that didn't happen in the world of AR, but it's kind of a lucky accident.
Yeah.
And sooner or later it'll happen if it becomes a mainstream thing. They'll figure it out.
No doubt.
Drug dealers are going to learn how to use AR for dead drops. I left the crack in here, send me my Bitcoins. Scan this QR code. Okay, well, how could that not happen?
It will. It got out of the gate in a clean, a clean run. So I think that's the important
thing. Well, there was porn. There's always been AR porn around.
Yes.
But, porn is like signal zero. It's if the machine's even turned on, there's going to be some porn.
Absolutely. It's just kind of part of the way things go, I guess.
Well,
so let me ask you this question. You've been here since the inception of this conference. This is your fourth year here. What changes have you seen from the first time you've been here
Right.
to this current AWE?
Well,
2013?
people, I haven't heard it discussed much, but the conference has just gotten started. But I really think that the radically new advanced Connect on the Microsoft Xbox One and the Leap motion detector, and also the two new very weird cameras that were just brought out by Intel in their Asian show like this week. These are like hairy, heavy-duty hardware innovations that like really make a dent in the oldest problem that AR has, which is 3D registration, accurately putting images into a three-dimensional space. And the Xbox is basically painting your living room with this stuff 24 hours a day. Super accurate. And Leap Motion, millimeter scale, real time.
It's unbelievable.
Oh yeah. And and Intel is in deadly earnest about perceptual computing. $100 million? I mean, you can buy the AR industry with that kind of jack. I mean, not Google.
Right.
But then there's Google too. The pink elephant in the room. The glass is not an AR device. It's more of an annotated reality device, or what it is it's a cloud wearable. But people who are here understand that technology very well.
Let me ask you about that, since you brought up glass, and obviously, it's not pure AR. How is it influencing augmented reality? Because I know there's some misconceptions that people think glass is AR.
Well, there's never been an AR business strong enough to build its own hardware. So it always ports itself onto Androids, Apple, whatever's available, desktop machines. There's never been a dedicated AR device. So whatever appears, they're just going to like pounce on it and try and warp it in their own direction.
Warp it.
Well, they have a particular goal, in augmented reality, and that's not. I mean, you can't buy a quart of reality. Like, go get me a kilo, So it's kind of a metaphysical thing that they do. But the fact that it exists, that it's probably going to be pretty cheap, that it might conceivably have a really big mass audience, it will vacuum in anybody who's most loosely attached if it's a commercial success. And there are things you can do that are AR-like with Google Glass. You can see things in 360 degrees, you can take panoramas, you can do image recognition, you can read QR codes.
There was, I guess somebody just recently hacked the Google Glass, and then they were trying to incorporate some true 3D tracking with it. So it'll kind of be interesting to see where that maneuvers, and I know that there's, I think, 10 wearable companies that are here. It'll be interesting to see, as more of these wearable.
That's a new tech model. It's like the Connect hacking community.
Right.
I mean, they get cheap enough, you just start doing weird stuff. Developers. I mean, that's why Leap Motion costs like $70. Like,
it's
here,
unbelievable.
go buy half a dozen and see what you can do.
Right.
I mean, we're making the device cheap so that the developers will be attracted and just do it on the net and like link to us. That's super 20 teens.
Yeah.
It's just like contemporary business there. It's like, where are you? Kazakhstan? We don't care. Put it on GitHub.
It's amazing. Leap Motion,
These
I think,
are
has been
new
big.
times, brother.
Absolutely.
And I must say, I'm really impressed by the hardware breakthroughs this year. I don't see new business models or any of that kind of stuff.
Let me
quote you. The hardware is scary.
Well, let me quote you, because when you finished your keynote, before you walked off, you said, "I am stunned by what is happening in AR in 2013." So for you to be stunned, I mean, that's I think speaks volumes.
Who expected Leap Motion? I mean, the more you know about it technically, the more you realize it's like a kid from North Carolina is just a kind of math genius. He came out of nowhere. There was no way to forecast that. I mean, you could see it sort of like creeping up, like, okay, a meter distance, half a meter. Werner Vinge, who's a science fiction writer, he talked about centimeter scale augmented reality last year, and it was pure sci-fi.
Right.
Leap Motion is millimeter scale. It's 10 times more accurate than he was like imagining. And that was only, 365 days ago.
Well, it's no secret, though, that people like yourself and all of these sci-fi writers have inspired people to want to make these things reality, and and that's happening, and that's what's taking place. So it first has to start in conception or imagination before it rolls out. So you have to tip your hat to all the sci-fi writers, including yourself, on that. So, what are some of the other things you're looking to check out, or that you're really interested? You mentioned Leap Motion. What are some of the other different venues that you want to check out, or different exhibitors?
Well, I'm being a sci-fi writer and also a journalist. I'm always interested in anything that sort of looks weird and newsworthy. And so is like Tomi Ahonen, who is like presenting after us. He's like, you can put on AR diet goggles and make your food look big, and then you think you've eaten too much food, and it's actually a magic trick, so you can stay on your diet. Okay, that's hilarious. And it's the sort of thing that would like work fine, and a page-long thing in the back of Wired magazine. It's just newsworthy and cool and weird.
Right.
But as somebody who's a futurist, I'm more interested in the driving forces of change.
Absolutely.
And where have like technical limits broken, and technical limits really broke in 2013. To a really surprising extent, and that stuff's quite hard to forecast. It's like trying to forecast the atomic bomb.
Right.
I mean, yeah, sci-fi writers used to write about it, but then when it actually appeared, believe me, the world was just set on its ear. I don't rank Leap Motion with the atomic bomb, but in the world of AR, it's almost a holy grail. I mean, it's something people have been struggling to do in the lab for 30 years, and now it's $75 in a consumer item.
It's amazing. Now you've talked about Tomi Ahonen and how much you admire him. When you saw his keynote, he went out there. I mean, he's put himself out there on his predictions on where AR is going to be. He predicted by 2020 that there would be over 1 billion users of AR. He's really putting himself out there. What is your feelings on him taking those steps, and do you think he's accurate?
I have seen him be accurate before, and he was the first guy I knew to forecast Nokia's problems, and he's a former Nokia executive. You would have thought he'd be going easy on them.
Right.
On the contrary, he's a guy who is really a very good drill down numbers guy. He's one of the best in the telecom industry, and I've just, he said outrageous things before. They weren't outrageous. I was just ignorant. I mean, I read his books. I buy his books. I read them every year. He's my favorite industry analyst. He says amazing things, but they come true. Mobile's a weird industry. There was none in 1987.
Right.
I was an adult in 1987. I had kids. I was walking around. I was a grown up. And I'm like, how many billions of users are there of mobile now?
Right.
It's shocking. It like came out of nowhere. It's $1 trillion industry. Okay, so if he says 1 billion people using AR, okay, break that down. Do they use it all day, every day? No. Do they have AR apps on their handheld device? Probably. When you got 1 billion apps sold, okay, there's like several thousand apps. There are going to be some on your device. Okay, does that make you a user? Maybe, maybe not. Do you use it to say, open your door? You might. Just like build like an AR thing on the door. It's like no visible doorknob. I just go in and like fake doorknob appears. I do the twisting motion, the door opens. Okay, that would be like a security thing, but I wouldn't be thinking, oh, this is amazing, I've augmented my door. It would just be the door.
Right.
I mean, like we have like you have a chip on a card now in the hotel. It's like, I've got a computer in the door. How could you have 1 billion computers and 1 billion doors? Okay, we do have 1 billion computers and 1 billion doors. It's not surprising. So if you look at it that way, I think his prediction's probably a lead pipe cinch.
Well, he seems more confident like now, because as he's kind of watching the AR movement and where it's going, he's more confident than ever. In fact, he's saying now, like, I'm extremely confident. Confidence is high here. And what was really interesting about his statistics, he said that this could be plus or minus 33%.
Yep.
So we might actually be going well beyond 1 billion.
Well, he's grading on the curve there.
Right.
So
it's interesting to see where that is. So
I mean, there's some looseness in the definitions. Right. Like if he said there's going to be 1 billion guys wearing Google Glass, I would find that hard to believe.
Right.
I could believe there'd be 1 billion guys wearing head-mounted devices. But if Google has a hit with that, Apple's going to be all over them.
Right, exactly.
There'll be Apple Glass, IBM Glass, Microsoft Glass, military glass. There'll probably be police glass of various kinds.
Oh, yeah,
how could you not,
Absolutely.
So.
And also, too, the integration of facial recognition with these sort of wearables too.
I guess. I mean, I don't even worry about that. I mean, I worry about other things, but.
Well, for good stuff too. I mean, we could look at a lot of good things for facial recognition, you know, for Alzheimer patients or that sort of thing.
Well, people always pick on the you know, the stuff that's easy to promote. It's like, oh, it's a privacy invasion. How do you know? Well, we got your face. Okay, we don't really need your face.
Well,
much,
this is kind of interesting. I don't know if you saw this, but there was a petition online, since we were going back to Google Glass, where there was a petition where, you know, they wanted to be banned, and it was posted. They were looking for like 2 million people to sign up. After 2 weeks, guess how many people signed the petition? 2.
Oh well.
So I don't think that sort of thing is going to go anywhere. I think it's more of a you know, kind of a smoke and mirror sort of thing.
Well,
so
I love watching what Glass is doing. You know, I mean, Sergey's like my favorite high-tech weirdo right now. He does such unusual things. I mean, what a strange Californian character he is. It's exhilarating to watch him try and, you know, flop around.
Well, I think the amazing thing is how Google has so many different products, and they all integrate with each other. And I think that social networking and moving into AR, you know, it's going to keep growing too.
Now, I love Google X. You know, they're keeping up the kind of Silicon Valley insanely great spirit of the 80s.
Absolutely.
You know, and they're really the only guys doing it. A lot of other people are just farming out their R&D work. Like, we'll just acquire whoever.
Right.
You know, whereas Google is like, let's go in and make stuff 10 times better than anybody ever imagined ever.
Absolutely.
They're like, how are you going to do that? Would a couple of billion help? Yeah, probably would, actually.
So that's a question. When are we going to start to see, you know, some of the sponsors of conferences like this from Microsoft and from Apple and from Google? You know, I mean, how far away are we with that? You know, you talked about that in some of the
Glass conferences that have got Google stuff going on.
Right.
I mean, but you know, I mean, that if you want to do that, you go to New York and like hire Diane von Furstenberg and have them like truck out the supermodels. I haven't seen any of them here, but that's like Glass event.
Right.
You know, I mean, they're just operating at a different level of publicity there than a, you know, relatively modest but conspicuously growing event like AWE here.
So we're interviewing you before we've really seen anything take place. So hopefully maybe you know, when the conference ends, if we can maybe get you back to kind of do a post interview to kind of get your feelings on what you've seen and some of the changes.
Well, you know, this may be the first year where there's too much going on for me to figure it out.
Yeah.
I mean, there's concurrent tracks. There's just a lot of exhibitors. I am super interested, but it may just be too much. I'll try and get back.
We'll try to get you back. But Bruce, thanks so much now for talking to us. What are some ways that people can you know, read about some of your writings, your blogs, and that sort of thing? What's the easiest way?
Well, I have this blog for Wired called Beyond the Beyond. It's got a category in it called Augmented Reality, where I, you know, keep up with weird or amusing or funny or significant developments. And I also have a Tumblr set, and I mess around on Twitter quite a lot. Okay. And I know I write for the normal press, and I write novels and short stories and do tech art stuff now, kind of.
Anything big coming out that you want to tell our listeners about?
Well, I'm really interested in stuff like Ars Electronica, which is, you know, an annual event in Linz. And this is the first year where I was a juror for Ars Electronica, so I'm kind of like seeing the electronic art scene in Europe from the inside. I spent a lot of time in Europe. And you know, I really think now that there's dedicated platforms for tech art, there's processing and there's Arduino, you know, made by art coders for art coders. We're on the brink of maybe the silver age of tech art, you know, wow. where it's not just like some weird thing that like the hairy-eyed guy would pull out of his trunk, but something that like really brings in foot traffic. And,
right.
You know, it's the population understands technology art now. They enjoy interactive things. Installations are becoming more popular. It's getting cheaper to do. More people know how to do it. They've got more of a art school education plus design or technology stuff going on. So I'm super interested in that. And I've been watching it for years. It grows slowly. Things move slow in the art world, but now that it's got its own means of production. You know, you can order stuff. You can find people to help you. You can share code with stuff. it's really starting to get its legs under it. You know, it's really becoming a seed.
Really?
Yeah,
Okay.
it could break loose. You know, there could be the first tech art superstar.
And then you can augment it also and bring it
Well,
into the
you know,
AR
that's
world
part
too.
of it. I mean, you know, there's a lot of augmentation in kiosks, and a lot of augmentation in installations. Projection mapping is very popular, especially in Europe.
Yep.
So, you know, and there's a little bit of money in art, a lot of ingenuity, a lot
Right.
of creativity, not a lot of cash. There's more cash, and it's also getting cheaper, and there's more institutional support. The new generation of curators, they're not scared. They've all got iPads. They know that Jobs was a real designer. You know, the design world's friendly with it. It's going to be a big decade for that.
Nice. Now, I want to ask you, I almost forgot about the Auggies. Now, you're going to be at the Auggies this year?
I don't know. I mean, I think so.
Because you've been a judge for years here.
Well,
so
you know, sometimes they present. If they're going to be presenting, I guess I'm going to have to be judging.
you have to. Yeah. And also, too, this year, the winner of the Auggies gets $20,000.
That's a handsome sum.
Yeah, that's not
I
too
have
shabby.
seen all the entries.
Okay. Is there any? Are you going to be? You're going to let us know who you think might have a good shot at it, or any predictions, or are you
I'm
just
going
going
to have to discuss that with my fellow judges and figure out what
Okay.
who it is we're trying to reward.
I can't
here.
influence a judge or anything else
There
like
you
that.
go.
All right. Well, Bruce, thanks so much
Sure,
for
man.
spending time. I really appreciate it.
Good luck with it.
Okay. All right.